Today, we're going to talk about Revenue Cloud and multi-currency as it relates to pricing management within Revenue Cloud. So out of the box, along with some of the other great features that the pricing management tool enables with Revenue Cloud, it also out of the box handles multiple currencies. So we're going to take a look at just what that entails as far as setting up your standard pricing procedures, your automations as it relates to having multiple currencies enabled in your org. Another special use case that we're looking at is how do we handle when your customer has many currencies enabled. So you're talking 50 plus currencies within an organization, and those currencies are being converted on a weekly basis with updated conversion rates. So what are some things that we need to consider on making it a little bit easier from an administrative standpoint without really impacting the user's experience as they're going through the Revenue Cloud on a weekly basis, building out their quotes, etc. So let's dive into it. Taking a first look at just enabling multi-currency. Again, this is standard Salesforce functionality. So I'm coming over here, taking a look at the currency settings within the organization. You can see here for demo purposes, we have a few currencies enabled with some conversion rates already built in. So once that is enabled for your organization, we're going to jump over into your pricing procedures and what that looks like for Revenue Cloud. So as you know, within Revenue Cloud, you have different types of procedures that are required to go ahead and get your pricing to work, from a browse catalog functionality to managing your sales transactions, whether that's the quote or order, etc. So you have two different areas. You've got your pricing procedures and your discovery procedures. So out of the box, you also have some expression templates that you can base your procedures off of. So we'll just take a look at that quickly. Your expression set templates. And you can see here there's quite a few in our demo org, but what we're going to focus on is the sales transaction pricing procedure. So this revenue management default pricing procedure, you'll see that, but there's also one that is specifically for multi-currency. So when we dive into those, we're going to look at how those are different from the standard default pricing procedure. So the revenue management default pricing procedure already is set up to handle multi-currency. So when you look at your price settings and your input variables, you'll see that there is a currency that can be set there. So whenever you're creating your pricing procedure, you just want to go ahead and make sure that you've selected, and I'll just dive over into one I had already created. And you can see here, you can just go ahead and set the currency ISO code. That will automatically handle the use of currency within your sales transaction management. As far as pricing discovery, so when you go to browse the catalog, if you're searching from a quote, what your quote currency is set up is what you want, obviously, the pricing to return from. So coming in here in your pricing discovery procedure, you also have the ability to input the currency ISO code. If your org is not set up to handle multiple currencies, this can just be left blank. So very simple. Again, out of the box, the pricing procedure templates and discovery procedures also are available just to go ahead and enter in the currency ISO code variable, and that automatically will update it for you. So once you do have your pricing procedures set up and you've configured them to go ahead and run pricing with the currency enabled, let's talk a little bit about a org that contains hundreds of thousands of products, and they have the need to be translated or converted into multiple currencies. So we're going to talk about how that's done from an administrative side, kind of as an extension of the out of box. So I'm going to jump over into the product catalog management section of Revenue Cloud and just kind of talk through the setup of a new product as it relates to how pricing can be set up to create all of those currencies and make it easily available for your users. So as a product manager, I'm going to come in here and just go ahead and go under the products and create a new product. So I'll just go ahead and put this in I'm going to just select some base information about this particular product. And you'll notice here for a org that has multiple currencies enabled, you're going to obviously be able to select your base currency. If you were going to want the currencies to be converted automatically so that your user or your product manager is not having to manually create a price book entry for every currency that's supported across the organization, and then in addition, maintaining all of those price book entry conversions based upon inbound conversion rates on a weekly basis. So, it definitely is a situation that calls for some automation, and automation can be applied in multiple ways. For the purposes of this demo, we're kind of talking through just using a flow on new product creation or product edit. However, there are other alternative ways using Apex to automate and run jobs on large scale product base within your organization. So I'm going to go ahead and leave my product currency as the euro. And I'm going to go ahead and enter what a base cost may be. And this will be the initial cost or price that we want to associate for this product. And so I'm just going to go ahead and set that for 1,000 and click Save. And what you'll see based upon the automation that was built behind the scenes is that a few things happened here. We had automatically created some price book entries for the standard price book. And you'll see here, price book entry was automatically created for the base price of 1,000 that was entered on that entry screen. And then all supported currencies that are configured for this organization based upon the conversion rates went ahead and maintained. So that prevents the user from coming in here and having to manually update. In addition, on a scheduled frequency based upon how often your conversion rates are updated, once those conversion rates are updated, you can trigger an update across your board of all your products so that whatever that base price or base currency is on your product is then converted across all this price book entries. As part of that too, as it relates to Revenue Cloud, all of your pricing that is delivered within the price catalog has to be refreshed. So the price book entries decision table has to be refreshed. So some of the automation is also using that incremental refresh. And if we take a jump over here to our flow that was built, and again, the automation can be used in a flow or Apex, you can see that the currencies were looped through, the price book entries were created, but at the end here, we also have a refresh pricing table action. So what that is doing is it's going to go ahead and refresh that standard decision table that is part of the Revenue Cloud. That's going to add those price book entries into that decision table automatically so that now when your user goes to look for your product, that pricing is readily available within your catalog. And the same thing would reflect if it was a product that was being updated and you had changed your pricing and you wanted that pricing reflected and moved down through all the different currency rates.